What's going on, good people? Rich here.
School in the building. What's happening?
It's your girl Ray P back on the mic. What's going on, everybody? What's going on, fellas?
Hey,
What's happening?
slow motion. How you feeling?
Yeah, come see, come saw. I'm okay. I'm cool. I just came back from vacation. Two of my really good friends got married in Dominican Republic. So I'm excited to
Congratulations
go.
to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Josh and Cliff. I still haven't like caught my breath. Like I took off yesterday, but I'm exhausted
Yeah,
still.
I seen you on that beach looking like butter,
Hey, you
collecting that sun. I synced it.
see me?
Hey,
Yeah.
you need a vacation from a vacation now.
100%.
That's how it is.
100
That's
Facts.
how life is built.
Facts.
for
You know what I
sure.
mean? They don't tell you that when you're getting older.
For
Mm-mm.
sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, nah, man, I'm glad everything went well. School. I know Emery, my niece, she just had a performance.
Yes, that's my little man. She gonna be a superstar, man.
I
Hey,
love
she might take over the pod, man. She
it.
got it. She
Nah,
got it.
she's a ton of personality. Like I can vouch for
Yes.
that. Ever since she was a baby, like an
Yep.
infant. So
Hmm.
that's for sure. But without that, without much else being said, welcome back to another episode of the Culture Garden Podcast. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We thank you for that. Um, Got to start the episode real quick. The day we're recording this, I know we went through our pleasantries, but Harry Belafonte.
Yes.
Mhm. Giant.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to spend time to use words on to describing him. I
Yeah.
think everybody, no matter the generation, should know that name. Maybe could look up a little bit more about what he did and his achievements and his activism and just the way he led this era of golden Hollywood and did so much for the culture. We'll spend some words, or excuse me, spend an episode or spend some time talking about him in more detail. But RIP to him, man. I believe
Yeah.
96.
Hmm.
Like lived a
Yes.
life, lived a life.
Yes.
Job well done.
Yes.
So want to give our condolences to his family, close friends, loved ones. A giant
Absolutely.
in this world, as Rachel said.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolute legend, man, for sure. He did it all. Music, activism, acting,
Hmm.
you name it, he did it, man. So yes, RIP to him.
1,000%. Don't forget about We Got Y'all, our television feed for the Culture Garden podcast. We have been using that consistently this year.
Hmm.
If you aren't subscribed to it, please find it. It's in our link tree, in our bio. If you follow us on the Culture Garden podcast at Instagram, then you will find it there as well. We got y'all. We're talking about Succession right now. Myself, Rachel, Brian, having a great time, having some good conversation. They are making some really good television over there at HBO. So please check us out over there. Before we get into today's movie, there will be spoilers and explicit content, and we are going to be talking about draft day. So the day you are listening to this is the first round of the NFL draft.
They
You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So and draft day is a
Yeah.
big deal. And before we get into it, Rachel, this is our collective movie because, like I said, we're dropping it on draft day. But you mentioned months ago that you wanted to talk about this film. What made you want to kind of get into
I fucking love this movie.
it?
I am a fake football fan or a faux fan. I can watch it. I will watch it. I know what's going on, but I don't be fucking watching that shit.
Yeah,
But the first time I saw this was on a plane, and I was like, "Yo, this is fucking amazing." You got Kevin Costner, we got Chadwick, the Element. I mean, we're all from Ohio, and I know that y'all are Bengals, but
Who they?
you see it if you're watching.
it's the
Yeah.
Browns, man. Come on.
I even had to wear this crew neck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. If you're watching right now, at least we're not Cleveland. It came
That's a
from the
fact.
2017 season. We were 7-9, beneath expectations, but that's a year Cleveland went 0-16. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
we might be bad, but we ain't Cleveland bad. And it's always going to
Hmm.
be beef between Cincinnati and Cleveland when it comes to this football thing. So you see me decked out on my Bengal stuff. We got Joe Burrow. We on top of things, but
Yep.
Well, shout out
Who
to
they?
the Browns, and that bad can be whatever way you mean it. But yeah, so I was like, I fucking love this movie. great performances all around from everybody. One of my other faves, Jennifer Garner. I was a
Mm-hmm.
fan. Good performances, and it's draft day. Shout out to all those entering the draft this week. Hope
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it.
274. I don't know the exact number, but young men's lives are going to change in a
Yes, yes.
dramatic way. And anybody just living out their dreams or chasing a dream or been working their whole life towards something, just to see
Yep.
them reach that goal, whether I know
Mhm.
them or not, whether we know them or not, just want to send love, man. That's a big deal.
Mhm.
Yep.
Not a lot of positions in the NFL when it comes to players, so that's a huge
Right.
deal. Quick synopsis before we get into youth school and your first experience, but a quick synopsis. At the NFL draft, general manager Sonny Weaver has the opportunity to rebuild his team when he trades for the number one pick. He must decide what he's willing to sacrifice on a life-changing day for a few hundred young men with NFL teams. School, do you remember your first experience with the film?
First time I saw this was probably about 3 years ago. I don't remember much about it. This time watching it though was like a different experience.
Mm.
I think I didn't watch it because it was associated with the Browns, and that's just it. Like
That's
I'm a
understood.
diehard who they, we won the North, nigga. So
Yeah, Bengals to Jon Snow, this shit. Kings of the North.
yeah, yes, yes,
I feel you on that because I'm not gonna lie. That's the same reason why I was a little delayed in watching it.
yeah,
Like it was just a Browns theme movie, and I just didn't want to sit through that. Like for what?
yeah.
Um,
hmm Especially if they was gonna be on some fake winning shit. I'm like, these niggas about to be fake winning? Like, hell nah.
yeah, but I knew I was gonna watch it because I'm interested. Like that's my alley. That's one of my favorite genres of sports movies. The
Mhm.
stuff that's off the field, the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. I know you haven't. Rachel, have you seen Moneyball?
Yeah.
Like I love Moneyball. Like I love everything about that. So this film is the same way. And it is what it is. Like it's not
Yeah.
realistic. A lot of this stuff wouldn't happen. Just the schematics of it,
Yeah.
the decisions that were being made as far as trading some of the picks. Now, crazy things have happened, but I'm talking about like the ending, wrapping it up, trading picks that you just received the same day. Stuff like
hmm
that isn't necessarily the most realistic, but it doesn't matter in a film like this. Like it doesn't matter at all. You still get
Right.
your fun and your entertainment. And I got a couple things with it, but I do love the film. It is a real good one.
I
Rachel,
was going to ask you, yeah, my overall question is how or what did you feel was so unrealistic about the behind the scenes war room processes?
not that part, not that. I'm talking about specifically about the picks and the trades that were being made. All
Mm-hmm.
right, so the first trade makes perfect sense. Like if that's what you
hmm
want to do, but you're not trading. And I'm glad that the movie. I'm so happy that the movie acknowledged this. You're
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
not trading the number 7 pick for the number 1 pick, as well
hmm
as 2 other number 1s, just to get somebody you could have got at number 7.
Yeah.
Like no team would ever. That GM would be fired on the spot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the fact that
But
they acknowledge it and they
mhm.
had something else up their sleeve, but honestly, for things to fall like they needed to, for them to take 3 number 2s, trade that for the number 6, call the team they made the original deal with, get their original picks back, trade it back for another pick, like it was just a lot, and that wouldn't happen in
Mhm.
that span of time.
How you
Yeah.
know?
The
That's
movie.
just good. That's good GM work.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like that's realistic as fuck.
not in that sense. A
You just
trade can
said your
happen.
ass wasn't no real fan. Stop
Yeah, like you know what I'm
it.
saying. And I'm not knocking the movie. Like I said,
I'm to
it's
argue you
cool.
down.
Nah, it's cool because this film doesn't need that. Like it doesn't need to make sense. Like it's a good. I love the ending. As
Mhm.
unrealistic as
Mhm.
that would be for it to happen, like if that happened on Thursday, everybody would lose their minds. It
Yep.
would be unprecedented. Like they even said something like that. So there's a lot of similarities between the 2014 real NFL draft and
Mhm.
this film, which actually happened in 2014.
Yeah.
A Heisman Trophy winner was slipping in the draft, Johnny Manziel.
Mhm.
You had the Cleveland Browns making picks to trade up. You have all types of madness going on. I think they even reference draft day, like this is better than draft day
Yeah, it
Mhm.
during
was
this
John
live
Gruden.
NFL draft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
John Gruden said it.
yeah, but either way, it's just a time for sports fans, if you're a fan of an NFL team, to just be excited about the future. There have been so many times as Bengal fans, and I know School can relate. Like we were just trash, and you just know you're not competing for a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And every year you go to the draft, and that's your one hope for the season. Like, all right, maybe we can start getting some pieces here. And the Bengals have drafted kind of well over the years. But obviously, when you get a number one pick, a Joe Burrow, somebody that really changes your franchise, it just changes the whole. Now we played in a Super Bowl. Now we're competing for him. It feels good as a fan. And draft day is a start of that. So that's why I think this film resonates with somebody like me as a sports fan. School, you say you just
No. It's a decent movie. It's a decent movie. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. It would have been even better if it would have been a different franchise, but
Now I will tell you, I will say this, and I want to have this quick talk. The only major thing that I would say that didn't make sense to me in this film is the B plot wasn't needed. It wasn't a bother, but it wasn't needed. I didn't need the Allie Sonny
pregnancy and all that.
It was two different movies
Mm-hmm.
trying to be one. And like I said, it wasn't a bother. It wasn't something like, why did they do this? It just wasn't needed. Like, and I think part of this, it's an hour 50 minutes. You can make it an hour 35.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of that stuff because it didn't serve to the film. Maybe she was his balance. She was the person he went to as far as trust.
She has his fear.
Yeah, but they could have done that without adding I guess it's real. I mean, when you spend that much time in an office.
Yeah, these relationships happen.
Yeah. But all right, let's get into some stats real quick. The film was released April 11th, 2014. It was directed by Ivan Reitman. It was his last feature film before his passing in 2022. He directed Stripes, Ghostbusters 2, Kindergarten Cop. If you are a 90s movies nerd, Dave and Junior, those films might, ring a bell. Yeah. Father's Day, No Strings Attached. Rachel, I know that's your shit. Another movie with Jennifer Garner. And it was written by Scott Rothman and Rajiv Joseph. Budget of an estimated $25 million. It made 29.8 worldwide. It was a box office failure, and it is currently streaming on Cinemax, HBO Max, and the Roku channel. As far as awards, I just thought this was pretty funny. There was only one I could find. The Alliance of Women Film Journalists. Kevin Costner and Jennifer Garner were nominated for most egregious age difference between leading man and a love interest.
That's insane. 17 years.
Yeah, they didn't win. It was Al Pacino and someone else that actually won that year, but they were nominated. Once again, goes to my B plot theory.
You
makes sense. It's real life. That's how it actually is.
I say that wasn't even far fetched for me. An old man with a
especially in his business of being in football, it makes sense for him to have one of them little young Stanleys. But the crazy part to me is like you said, you don't need it though. You know what I mean? You really don't need that B plot.
Rachel, what do you think?
I loved it. I didn't think it was unnecessary. I mean, I guess it didn't necessarily maybe add so much, but I like that she has this here. One of my favorite scenes, again, are the scenes with the two of them, his mother and ex-wife, just those quiet moments, hey, Amy, because I like random shade. But no, I like that shit. Again, it wrapped everything up in a neat little bow. She saw his little green sticky note in the morning that we saw throughout the whole movie, So yeah, I don't think it was unnecessary. It definitely didn't distract me.
Would it have made a difference to you if she still played that same role to him, but she was just a legit exec? Like she was just his co-worker and friend and knew football and somebody you could bounce ideas of? Like, did you need the romance aspect of it?
Here's the thing, that probably wouldn't exist. Like their relationship being just that tight.
Okay, that's 100% fair.
I thought they was doing a good job of just the B plot being that resentment for his mom and that situation with his mom and dad, and You know what I'm saying? Like it was clearly something there with the mom. He had resentment for his mom.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that was
that
clear.
scene. We'll talk about it in the best scenes, but that
Yeah,
scene between them in the office was very. For a movie like Draft Day, you can feel that
yeah,
tension before you, and that's before you even know what happened. Us as
Mhm.
right.
viewers, but
Yeah,
you know something's up. There's something going on, and mixed in with his losing his dad, the whole nine. As far as cast goes, Kevin Costner, Sonny Weaver Jr., he's a sports movie Hall of Famer. Kevin
Mhm.
Costner himself. I think he's been in
mm-hmm.
about 12 sports movies, ranging from all different types of sports. Obviously, he has Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, Tin Cup. I mean, he's a first ballot Hall of Fame. We might do that one day. Just have an episode of sports actors because you can put Chadwick in
Yeah,
there too.
yep.
Chadwick's been in a lot of them himself.
Mm-hmm.
He was Vontae Mack. He agreed to the role after a Skype call with the director Ivan Reitman because he wasn't really interested in playing an athlete again because he was just coming off of 42 playing
Mhm.
Jackie Robinson. We have Jennifer Garner as Allie, excuse me, Dennis Leary as Vince Penn, Frank Langella as Anthony Molina, Chad McBride as Walt Gordon, Puff as Chris Crawford, better known as Sean Combs, Brother Love, whatever. Patrick Saint is Spirit as Tom Michaels, and I guess we got to mention Terry Crews, who played Earl Jennings. We have appearances from NFL personnel and sports anchors, including Mel Kiper, Deion Sanders, Mike Mayock, Arian Foster played Ray Jennings, and the legend Jim Brown himself. So
Mhm.
very sports heavy movie.
Cleveland
Ray
Brown.
Lewis.
Yeah, sure. Ray Lewis. Um, I say his name the same way I say Terry Crews. Cool, man. Yeah. As far I don't even know if I talked about my first experience. I think I saw it on Redbox. I know I said that it was a little delay, but it was one of those Redbox movies for me, just randomly. All right,
Okay,
time to watch
Mhm.
this.
gotcha,
I
gotcha.
was pleased with it.
I had not even heard of the movie. I happened to again see it on the plane. I was like, "Oh, what's this?"
Yeah,
I didn't remember. So it made its money, but yeah, I guess a box office failure. I don't
yeah.
remember seeing any trailers or anything for this movie ever.
I remember
I
seeing the
definitely
trailer,
remember this coming out, like
but
the trailers and everything.
the trailers didn't do the movie justice. Like they didn't
No.
make me want to go up. Like Air,
Mm-hmm.
seeing the trailer for Air made me want to go to the theaters and see Air.
Hmm.
Seeing the trailer for Draft Day was like, I'll check that movie out at some point.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it's better than I thought it was gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
That's for
yeah,
sure. Like I said, Kevin Costner, him in a sports movie, you can pretty much bank on that at this point.
yeah.
Jerry Maguire, do you? And this is just a random question: is that a sports movie to you, Rachel, or is that a romantic film?
Oh man,
This I feel like this answer should be easier than this.
it's not enough on field time for it to be a sports movie.
There we go.
You know?
That's that's a
Yeah.
romantic movie.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about films like this. Like I said, I mentioned Moneyball, and I mentioned this, and I mentioned Jerry Maguire. Just those kind of sports movies that aren't in that field type of role. And I'm like, man, I've always wanted to ask y'all that. Going,
Yeah,
I think.
I'm gonna say no. I mean the most memorable lines from the movie is "Show me the money," and then the other one is "You had me at hello." Like
Yeah,
nothing, no sports,
yeah,
shit is in there.
100%.
So
Now, Rachel, I will say, I know I mentioned how those trades themselves weren't the most accurate, but there were a lot of accuracies that I did enjoy with the film.
Mm-hmm.
They did a lot of they sprinkled in enough information for real fans, but not making it too heavy to where if you were just a casual person, you couldn't follow what was going on.
Yeah.
The beef between the front office, the head coach versus the GM versus the owner,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it
yeah,
comes down to decision making, what's best for the team. Those let me do my job. You're not involved in this decision. I'm not going to keep you abreast. Like none
Yeah.
of that. That's a real thing that happens all the time.
Absolutely.
The idea of you're putting everybody's jobs on the line, that is a real thing. The one thing about NFL or NBA or a lot of professional sports are these coaching units, they work as a unit. You know what I mean? They're one team.
Yeah.
So when a head coach gets fired, unless it's mid-season, if a head coach gets fired, then the staff's getting fired too. Why? Because whoever's getting hired is not going to want to keep whoever was a part of that staff. I'm bringing
Mhm.
in my
right.
own people. When the
Yep.
GM gets fired, his assistant GM and most of those people get fired as well. So coach had real beef. Like I feel him for not like, yo, this is my job, bro. Like this could go bad real quick. And I'm putting this decision in your hands. That's a real thing. So I did appreciate that. I love the strategy of things. I love the war room. I love the boards up. I love the digging into information. I love the fact that they have a head of security in this film because that is 100% a real thing. I think Carmelo just recently, I know this is a different sport, but Carmelo Anthony recently just had an interview where he was talking about David Stern called me in his office one day, told me some information he shouldn't have known, and that's when I knew the feds was working with the NBA. It's the same thing with the NFL. They know everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Illegal activity, not illegal activity, what time you go to sleep, where your boys live, like what kind of activity they into. Like, so the fact that he would know nobody came to his birthday party and all this little tidbit of information, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I love the fact that they put that into the film. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. Did you guys enjoy the split screen shots that this film had?
I didn't not. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, they were distracting. I mean, you must not have enjoyed them.
Oh, I did.
Oh.
Normally, I don't like stuff like that, but I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it. You know, it was pretty cool. Classic or nah?
No. But I really enjoyed this movie.
Understood. School?
Nah. But I too enjoyed the movie.
Very enjoyable movie. It is a movie. It's funny because it just falls in that category of something you can watch over and over again. It's so easy to watch that I might watch it more than some of my quote unquote classics just because it's like that. But no, it's not a classic.
It's definitely a background movie. I'm about to clean the house, throw this on, you know, whatever.
It makes me feel like being 13 and watching Mighty Ducks 3. You know what I'm saying? Like just that kind of sports movie. Like it's just not too much. It gives you everything you need. It gives you the feel good ending. Like it's not corny. It's hard to do that and not be corny.
Yeah.
Like it really is. And I want to tip my hat to them for that. I would love to see, and we'll move on to categories here after this. I would love to see an R-rated draft day. Something a little bit more gritty. I love to see the Any Given Sunday version of draft day. Like so where you can really get into these trades and how they talk and how they really get down with this. I think that would be an interesting story.
But other than like them cussing at each other, what more do you need to see of that? Like as an R-rated version?
I just think that there's a lot more. The same way that I'm trying to think of an example. I can't right now. Either way, I just think that there's a lot more bullshit that goes on behind the scenes that you can really carve a story out of. It's not as good as the moments, like the trade moments that Sonny makes in this film. I think they're great. All of them. They're all entertaining to watch. I want to see more of the phone calls and the negotiations. I want to see the backslide. I want to see them. Let me get this information to the agent. I guess you know what? In a sense, Winning Time does a lot of that. Season 1 did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking of it in that sense too. I really enjoyed all of that stuff and what they portrayed, even the draft, how they got Magic Johnson and all of that.
Yeah, and I'm with you too because I get what you mean. Like even the part of Coach Penn, like I would have loved to see him make that phone call to the Bills. You know what I mean? Like,
and that coach is he's a prick, and they make that character be a prick. But it would have been a lot more than boo-hoo when you find out that his sister passed from cancer. He's the only one in the room like, well, boo-hoo, this ain't an after-school special. R-rated film version, I want to see it because that would be incredible acting. Because he would say some off-the-wall ignorant shit.
Absolutely.
And I want to see how that portrays. I don't know. It's just something that fascinates me.
Okay.
Moneyball was R-rated. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be super cuss words and all that. It was just a different kind of story.
Okay.
Let's get into some categories. School, we'll start with you. Best scenes.
Um, the first scene that I have is the scene where he revealed why he fired his dad was
Mm-hmm.
because of his mom. His mom asked him to, and he never told his dad that, which goes back to what I was talking about earlier. That could have just been the B plot, like of his resentment towards his mom. Like obviously he had mad respect for his pops, and his pops' health was deteriorating, and he was basically trying to save him. Um, and yeah, like he never told anyone that. He told his lady, man. So it was just some good acting in that scene.
Okay.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, some good acting.
Right, P?
I'll rewind us a bit and I'll start with Vontae Mack and Sonny Weaver's first call, just
That's
because
my
I really
first
like the way
scene.
he says Sonny Weaver Jr., you know.
Yeah, that's the first
Mhm.
scene I got.
And again, him talking about the trades, the next set of scenes with him once he figures out that Sonny has traded to the Seahawks for number one, you know. I like that he knew his shit. And we talked about all the Bengals and Browns, but we did not mention the Ohio State University. So
Yeah.
got to do that. Vontae Mack, no matter what. So I was
Absolutely. Absolutely. That first scene, just him shooting his shot,
that's it.
knowing that, we look at everybody looks at the sports aspect. Vontae was quick to understand this is a business aspect too. This is an
Yeah.
interview. Everything I've been doing. What you thinking? You gonna give me a 7? All of that. I just enjoyed it. And then Chadwick's acting. He just went. I believed he was a college football linebacker. I believed he went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like he was
Mhm.
kind of, he changed his whole demeanor, and it was something specific about defensive players. There's
Yeah.
an offense, and he was a defensive player, and his acting is
Mhm.
just incredible, man. Coach Penn in Sonny's office when he's burning the draft analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, Dennis Leary is just typecast. He's typecast as a prick. He's a prick
Yeah.
in everything.
Mhm.
But his character is not wrong. I talked about that earlier. But the one thing that I did want to mention is how Sonny stood up for Pops.
Yep.
ASAP through all the bullshit, because I talked to you at school about this with The Bear, the TV show The Bear that comes on FX.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The kitchen culture, if you've ever worked in a kitchen, the shit that the way they speak to each other,
It's crazy.
the stuff that's said, the kind of disrespect that's flown around, and the way people just let it roll off their back because that's the culture there.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's the culture in these sports worlds too, in these organizations.
Yeah.
So there was multiple times where people mentioned not necessarily dissing his dad, but mentioning him and it's like, yo, my dad just died last week. Like, don't screw this up like your dad would have. Like, come on, bro. Like, there was
Mhm.
multiple times of that throughout this film. But for
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
him to actually step up and say it, like, next time, like my dad, like when you mention him, we call him Coach Weaver around here. Show use some
Period.
reverence on his name. Like I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
love that scene. I love the acting between those two, and I love Dennis Leary just backing down. Like, you know what? You're right. My bad. So that's
Yeah.
another scene I had. School, what you got?
The next one I have is, like you said, that phone call between between Mac and Sonny. But when he called and told him to look at the tape, gave him the heads up, like look at the tape, and then we get into that scene of him taking his advice and checking out that tape, and Mac was nice, bro. Bo and that offensive line couldn't do shit with Mac. He back to back sacks. Like the only time he was a semi good is when Mac wasn't on the field. Man, that boy
Yeah.
was nice. Like you
Absolutely.
said, the Ohio State, and I believe Chadwick was a linebacker for them boys,
Yeah.
and he was playing for his nephews. Man,
That part.
Mhm.
That part.
sure.
Absolutely.
Um,
Also, just I'm sorry, were you gonna comment on that scene itself, Rachel?
go ahead. Go
Just
ahead.
all I was gonna say was that started the action to me of the. I know a couple picks have been traded and stuff like that, but this started the
Yeah.
real action and where you really get
Yep.
into the
Mhm.
groove and better parts of the film. So I
Yeah.
Yeah.
particularly like that this kicked it off.
Okay. I will move on, and I've already kind of said it to Sonny, his mother, Allie, and his ex-wife in the office, going on and on about the dedication because ma, this shit could have waited. Like,
Yep.
it's so much shit going on today. And I understand
Hmm.
her because she too is probably used to being at the facilities this day. It's draft day. I'm used to coach being here. She's probably usually somewhere in the office herself. And this is the first time Coach Weaver's not here. But
Mhm.
here's my son. He wants his ashes spread on his field. Like, let's just do it today. The I'm about to say that word wrong, but just the reverence for
Yeah.
for the occasion, and Sonny being completely over it. Like, motherfucker, it's 10,000 things going on. Like, I'm stressed.
Hmm.
I've traded away the team's future at this point. Like,
Mhm.
man,
Yep.
this has to wait until tomorrow. And I like
Yep.
the fact that she said, fuck it. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, that
You,
and also it also shows the relationship and the dynamic that they have of each other with
Mhm.
each other. Excuse me. Because a week ago or a year ago or whatever, she asked him to fire his dad. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's tough. Could you imagine that? Like, even though it's your mom, but for her to ask you to do something like that, and he did it, so she already knows she kind of got him in the bag. Like,
Right.
at least she thinks she does. Like, come on, we going to do this. I don't care if it's draft day, whatever, whatever. He had to throw that laptop to let her know, like, I'm
mhm.
serious. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing that. I got too much shit going on today, ma.
Ex-wife
Like,
was like,
Absolutely.
so
look.
again,
The-
great acting.
I was gonna say the acting was incredible. Kevin Costner did an incredible job this film of being how a real NFL GM would be on draft day, just irritated.
Mhm.
Like
Stressed.
everything irritated him, and you
Hmm.
could visibly see it. He did an incredible job with that. I loved when he would take Allie into the closet and just try to get a moment and hear
Yeah.
Yeah.
that door knock and the look on his face. He did that with his mom. I saw that on his like, what do you want? Like, I can't
Yep.
believe you coming to my door with this bullshit today.
Hmm.
Of all
Hmm.
days, like you do this shit tomorrow. You
Yeah.
got to be
Yep.
pissed to talk to moms like that. Like, you
Absolutely.
really got to
I
mean it.
don't care. I don't
You
care,
know what I
money or
mean?
not. Yeah, you
I
gotta
don't
be
care about
pissed.
none of this. Like, we doing this
Hmm.
shit tomorrow. I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
Whose turn is it for scenes?
Yours.
Mine, Ralph and the head of security scenes. I mentioned
I
it
was just
earlier.
about to, I love it.
I loved all the head of security scenes. I loved
Yes.
his. You want to ask me why? I love just the games and Sonny playing them with him. He knows they're coming, but once again, that irritation that Kevin Costner displays,
Yes.
like, bruh, like,
Yes.
what the fuck? Just tell me what's going on. But
Mhm.
Yep.
all of that information they played out is real. The $100 bill with the Washington team, that's a play on Jamarcus Russell.
Mhm.
Yep.
For those listening that remember Jamarcus, played at
Bum.
LSU. Yeah, played at LSU, was drafted by the Raiders. Notoriously didn't study film. Raiders gave him some DVDs, tell him there was game tape on it. Asked him when he came back, did you watch it? Yeah, yeah, it was real good stuff. The DVDs were blank, that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. So that's where they got that from. But him,
Notoriously known for robbing the Raiders, man.
Mhm.
yeah. And that the quarterback of all positions in football are the ones that you can't afford for your teammates not to like you. Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just doesn't pay off for you to be a dick. You got to be extreme, like elite good,
Mhm.
like generational good to get away with stuff like that. So I like the story about Bo Callahan and his teammates not showing up
Hmm.
because, and I know this film came out in 2014. This last season, they had some issues like that in Denver with
Yeah.
Russell Wilson. Sierra threw a
Yep.
birthday party for Russell Wilson, and some people didn't show up.
Yep.
And that just says something. It says it without saying it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
Hmm.
know that. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, just once again, going back to those accuracies, that stuff happens, and people pay
Yep.
attention to stuff like that. Like, why didn't people come to your birthday? You the quarterback.
yeah.
It's
Hmm.
different if you the O lineman or you the third stringer. Like, you the quarterback, bro. Ain't nobody coming to your
Hmm.
birthday party.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
will say this, it's the integrity for me. Integrity
Yeah.
really, really matters. And you just set the whole Sierra throwing Russell Wilson that birthday party, which I have to go dig on that because I didn't know that shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That niggas ain't come. But it just reminded me of any given Sunday when the locker room turned on Willie Beeman. Like,
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm not gonna go out here and risk my life for you if I don't fuck with you like that.
That's
And
a
so
fact.
if this is the kind of person that you are, and they didn't really allude to what the Badgers record was that season, but if your team don't fuck with you, why are you playing football of
Hmm.
all sports? is a team sport, motherfucker. We need each other.
Yes.
So real quick, did anybody buy the head coach from Wisconsin's story about the cops came and they didn't want to take the kids' names down?
What else
No.
is he supposed to say?
Right. I didn't. Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what he's supposed to. But in the movie, Sonny went back to Ralph and said, "I don't want to hear what you had to say after the last time." Like he kind of bought it.
Mm-hmm.
He to the point where he even asked Bo later himself for himself. But I never took it as that happened.
I didn't take it as Sonny buying it. I just took it like, okay, here's what he said. What else do I expect him to say? I think he said that to security because, nigga, all right, you ain't really giving me this shit quick
Give me
enough.
something real.
Yeah, I think I agree with both. Man, listen, I feel like he is too smart to even have made that phone call. Honestly, like, what do you expect him to say? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Also, one just real quick thing about that scene with the security scenes with Ralph. I love the fact that they threw in Drew, the quarterback. That that's the second strangest response he's gotten. Like you got those are the tangibles that you look for in people that you want in your building. Like I want somebody like that. Yeah. So I love the fact that they had it and it led towards, like I said, I love the last 20, 25 minutes of this film because it leads toward everything that you want to see. And we don't get that a lot of time in film. We get the curveball. Like I want to see a happy ending. Shit, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Who else got some scenes for us?
You just got to do that shit right. Let me see. I got one more. My last scene that I have is just the big scene of them finessing Seattle. That scene is just showing you why he is the GM. You know what I mean? Like he got the 6 picks from the rookie GM. He knew he was a rookie, so I can finesse him a little bit. And then he flipped it into the 7 and was able to get his 3 picks back and a special teams player and something we need. Like,
goddamn,
man,
because I feel like it.
Yeah, and I love the fact when he said when he gave him back his words, he's like, "This ain't it's a different world 30 seconds ago," or whatever he said. Like he gave it back to him from earlier, like on his shit. I loved it.
That's absolutely one of my favorite scenes. That whole transition of the trade between again the 6 picks with Jeff down in Jacksonville and then back up to Seattle. Just because, to your point, School, like, nigga, I'm Sonny Weaver Jr. I do this shit. Y'all didn't bring me in just for shits and giggles. Like I can make some shake. So that definitely 100% is a favorite scene of mine also. But I want to get into like a more tender moment of Sonny apologizing and talking to the intern
Rick.
Yeah. Just because, he's like, we're going to get you a new laptop, buddy, because it was so sad. And poor interns, they already are doing all of the grunt work. And for your first day to be draft day, nigga, no.
That's real. And
that the only thing that happened was his laptop was destroyed. Like he wasn't really cussed out, maybe ostracized a little bit, but nobody gave him his ass.
Well, the one draft guy, when we first meet Rick, that second guy that comes to him, talking about shit brains and all that, that was probably the closest he got to it.
Closest, yeah.
But yeah, Rachel, well, one thing that makes that scene play so well is the fact that was the first time all day that you can. Rick had shit thrown at him all day, and he kind of kept going. And that was the first time he was kind of a little bit down. He was broken. Like, damn, like, what happened? Well, y'all fucked up my laptop? Like, why? Even when, shout out to Sonny, he's always going to keep it G. Like, I did it. I threw it at the wall. He looked at Sonny like, why would you do that? Like, the Rick we saw earlier in the film wouldn't even question it.
Right.
Well, things happen. So the fact that you knew that meant something to him, and Sonny just sincerely, you never questioned if Sonny meant that he was sorry.
Absolutely.
That he was going to get him a new laptop and make sure everything was cool. Like I did really love that moment too.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you brought it up. Lastly, for me, just the Heights job, like you said, over Jacksonville, just the wheeling and dealing, how that job is done.
Yeah.
Playing somebody out, like knowing more information than the next man. I love the fact when he called Seattle and they didn't know that he had the number 6 pick yet. And they already celebrating, talking they shit on the phone. Like, nah, actually, I got it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Comes right over the TV. And he just finessed him right into him. Like the same words that Chad McBride's character said, fleece him. He fleeced him back for his picks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why it was great to see. It was, like I said, the oddity of that. I will actually, you know what, Rachel? I think it goes more to show that it's not accurate, but it's more so how good Sonny Weaver is at what he does.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Sure,
I like that. I'll also add to some of my favorite scenes as Bo Callahan not being chosen for first and Diddy sort of having to talk him off the ledge, like, no, bro, it's gonna be a long night. Like, this is how these things go. And all the scenes with Brian Drew and his family, like them just being happy, like, okay, look, we don't have to move again. Y'all settled on me. Let's go. Like, let's work. And then just the Ray Jennings call, just because that is special to be Cleveland royalty and play for your dad's team. Just, heartwarming moments.
And the Vontae overall pick moment. I want to add that in there too, just because.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Vontae back no matter what.
Yeah, because that's crazy to go from 6 or 7 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. It happens. It happens from time to time. But for someone
rare.
like that, we get just enough of Vontae's story to know what kind of person he is and the things that he's dealing with from a family perspective and what this means to him. It's not. That's the difference between somebody like Vontae and somebody like Bo.
Yes.
Bo's the number 1 pick. That's just another day in the life.
Yeah.
Like Vontae's going to cherish that shit. He's going to appreciate that shit. He's never going to take it as an entitlement type of thing, whereas Bo would. So you always root for people like that. And just his reaction, everything about it, I loved it. Also, just one last quick little tidbit. I love the fact that I mentioned earlier how they put in certain things that were for kind of football people and just still enough to where everybody can follow along. When they mentioned the 2003 Vikings and 2011 Ravens, when you call in a trade in the NFL draft, especially on draft night, both teams have to call it in order for it to be valid. And in 03 and 2011, that didn't happen. Like one team called it in, the other didn't. And then once your time runs out, the next team can call their pick in and choose ahead of you. So I like the fact that they mentioned that. Quotes. Anybody have any quotes right now?
I really didn't have a lot in the way of quotes. You pancake eating motherfucker, David goddamn funny, because I feel like it. That was good. Vontae Mack, no matter what. I've said it 10,000 times. That's
good. I got a couple. Well, damn, Tom, act like you called me. Like when they was talking the first time, when he was trying to get that pick. But how did you know there was a but? Because you were an unoriginal bastard. Your job is to coach the team I give you. They do it different in Dallas. He said, yeah, they win in Dallas. So I think that's about it for me.
Barely.
Yeah, barely.
Right. Yeah. Barely. In the fictional world. A lot of fun quotes in the film. Nothing I had written down, really. Just nothing that I would say day to day.
Right. I got another one. I might say this one when he was talking to Jacksonville. He said, "I want your next 4 number two, your next 4 number 2s." He said, "Nah, Jeff, I'm not going to do that. Stay with me on planet Earth here." Like straight up, you doing too much, brother.
Right.
So I feel you on that. Scene stealer.
I got Larry.
Who's Larry?
Dennis Leary. I got
Dennis Leary. Okay, Leary.
Yeah,
Leary.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach Penn, man. When he hit him with that boo freaking who ain't running the street school special, it's a football team whose offense was ranked 28 last year, and I still need a running back. He ain't give a fuck about none of that shit, bro. Like, I do also love the fact that from the beginning to the end, from the beginning he was tough, he wasn't going, and then he started seeing, all right, like y'all, like we've been talking about, this is why they hired Sonny. Like, he's gonna get the job done. I can see it now. I do want to coach this team. Like, so I fucked with him.
I got you. Ray P?
I have Mother Weaver.
Okay, then. I'm not mad at it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I have Griffin Newman, Rick the Intern.
Okay.
I appreciate it every time he was on film. Brian Drew just crashed your office. I told him you were busy. He told me to have intercourse with my mother. She passed away, so I didn't tell him that. Just that whole awkwardness of not knowing what to do and it being your first day.
Yeah.
Everything he did. We talked about the moment he had with Sonny. I just thought he
Yeah.
stole it. One real quick thing. Chadwick was overqualified to be in this film a little for his role. Like I would have loved to see him, huh?
2014.
I think so.
Yeah,
No,
he
well,
did.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying his status. He was
Okay.
overqualified.
I know what you mean.
I'm talking about just when you see him, like knowing what you know about Chadwick, even in a film like this, you just know how good of an actor he is. And they didn't give him a lot to do.
Yeah, I would have liked to see him on the other side of something. Maybe another exec for another team. Just some more, even working with Sonny a little bit closer, like something like that. He deserved more screen time.
So
Like you
in
can't wait.
my R-rated version, I don't know what happened to school. In my R-rated version of Draft Day, we get Chadwick as an exec because he was 37 playing a college kid in this movie.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We get Chadwick as an executive. He's going back and forth with Sonny Weaver, and they both kind of sliding it out. I don't know. I'm just pitching ideas out there.
Okay.
But either way, things that bother you?
Nothing.
No, I ain't got nothing.
I got one big thing that bothered me.
Go ahead.
Why the fuck did they bring up the '89 Super Bowl?
Yeah, they ain't have to
All the
bring
Super
that
Bowls
shit
that
up.
they could have brought up. I know that that's a classic Joe Montana story with the John Candy shit. But
Blah 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 blah. Who
Bengals
cares?
going to losing into that.
Yeah.
Any actors from The Wire? Nope. School, you got any trivia or any? Wouldn't let that happen to me. Does anybody have a moment?
No, because
Nah.
our lifestyle.
Yeah. Trivia school.
All right. So the storyline about Brian Drew being a good quarterback but weak and injury prone is based on the New York Giants Super Bowl MVP quarterback Phil Simms, who came to the Giants at high hopes until his lack of physical strength and toughness called his future with the Giants into question. During the offseason, he got himself into much better physical condition in the same manner as the fictional Brian Drew. Simms went on to lead the Giants to their first ever Super Bowl victory. I also have Terry Crews played a running back with the Cleveland Browns. However, while Crews played with 4 teams, he never played for the Browns, and he was a defensive lineman rather than a running back. I think you mentioned the Ivan Reitman's last film, Chadwick Boseman being 37. Yeah, that's it. That's all I get. Oh, no, the film was initially rated R by the MPAA, but Lionsgate appealed the rating and got a PG-13 rating without cuts. As a result, it is a very rare PG-13 film to use the term motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what I got. So.
Yeah, the film, I got a couple little things. The film was originally supposed to be about the Buffalo Bills, but it was cheaper production in Ohio, so they moved to Cleveland for the Browns. The team they were supposed to trade with instead of the Seattle Seahawks was supposed to be the New York Jets, but they pulled out last minute. And Frank Langella was the owner of the Browns in this film, and he was the owner of the New York Knicks in the 1996 film Eddie, starring Whoopi Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, the average viewer rates this film 6.8 out of 10. Too high, too low, just right.
Too low. I go 7.2.
I'm gonna say just right.
I'm gonna stay the same, just right.
Okay.
Just shy before 7. I think it was actually higher than what I thought they were gonna put it.
Me too.
I thought they were gonna put it like 6.2, 6.3, but I think 6.8 is right. So I think that's about it. That's all we got for you this week. If you're an NFL fan, shout out to your favorite team. Hopefully they made a good splash this draft season.
Yeah.
Good luck to all the guys in the draft.
I know the Bengals gonna make some great decisions.
Yeah, and the Rockets trying to make their way.
Yeah, shout out to the Rockets for sure.
Definitely.
But we will be back next week with another episode. We got y'all. Please do not forget about that. Please subscribe to that feed. We are talking about Succession. I think in late May we have Run the World coming back, which comes on Stars. So get prepared for that. We're going to be going through it as well. So thank y'all for continuing to support us. Ray P School, love y'all.
Love you.
Everybody out there, y'all be cool. Y'all be cool.
Peace.
Bye-bye.